Hello, thank you for joining me on this live reseller demo. I'm going to be reseller spreadsheet demo, I should say. I'm going to be demoing my 2024 reseller spreadsheet. So thank you for hanging with me here on YouTube. Whether you're live now, whether you're live with me or whether you're watching the replay, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out. I'll have several of these lives in the coming weeks, especially with the new year coming around the corner. At different times where we'll do things very similar to what I'm doing today. I'll demo the sheet. I'll show you the different versions. I'll answer questions you may have, show you shortcuts, things like that. So thank you for joining me here. Trisha already says, I'm here. I made it. Trisha, thank you for joining. For those that don't know, and many of you know who I am, you're already using my sheet. For those that don't know, I'm Jason. I'm a full-time reseller. And I've created this reseller spreadsheet to help fellow resellers like yourself. So that's what I do. I spend my time split between reselling the items that I have as well as working with this spreadsheet, helping people with questions they have, demos, things like that. So I'm going to pull it up here in just a second. I'll give a little bit of time for people to jump into the live here. And then we'll get rolling. So if you have questions, honestly, this time is for you. I consider this like my office hours. So if you're live and you've got questions, you can put them in the chat. If you're watching the replay later on, of course, you can always comment below this video, and I'll get to that as well. Bobby loves to thrift from Northeast Ohio. Grammy Pammy is here. Hello, hello. First time listener Eric from Missouri, not too far. We're neighbors. I'm in Northwest Arkansas. All right. So kind of the agenda for this hour, like I said, I've got a flow that we're going to get going here in just a second, that kind of an agenda as far as showing you the three different versions of the sheet, as well as answering like, why would you want each of these versions? So which one would make the most sense for you? And then I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to show you kind of more in depth how I set up one of those sheets. So I'm going to set up the sheet for you, show you how the tabs flow and how they work. And then, of course, any questions that come up along the way, I'll be answering those as well. So let's go ahead and pull in my sheet here. And I want to say, a lot of you out there, a lot of you even here in the live already, watching on TikTok as well, are already using the 2023 spreadsheet. If that's the case and you're not aware, the 2023 is good for 2023 only. So you can use it all the way up through December 31st, but in the new year, you'll want to get the new 2024 if you don't have it already and you're wanting to track using my numbers, track your numbers using my spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and pull up. Let me show you real quick. This is my Etsy store. Of course, this is linked below if you're looking for the sheet. You can find it. It'll take you right to my Etsy page here, Ozark Mountain Goods. Again, I'm in Northwest Arkansas, the tail end of the Ozark Mountains down below. And if you scroll down, you'll see I've got the 3 2024s featured right here. The basic, the premium, and the creator version. So I'll answer in just a second. Why would you want, or I guess the better question is, which one is best for you for where you are right now? I'll go over that in a second. So it'll take you here and you'll find those 3 versions. Looks like that. I've got the 2023 still in here. So if you're looking for 2023, you haven't started logging your sales yet, and you've got to give your numbers to your accountant, you can purchase the 2023. I've got them discounted 30% off. And if you use an affiliate code, you'll get an additional 10% off. So up to 40% off. This price is already 30% off. So you can get an additional 10%. Hope that makes sense. But again, that will only be good for 2023. So I'll leave those up until the new year, and then the 2023s will be down off my site, and you'll just see the 24. Okay, so that's the Etsy site right here. This is where it'll take you, where you can find that. Let me just add real quick to my YouTube channel here. I've got a bunch of videos geared for not just reselling, this spreadsheet especially. Um, so you'll see the first 4 here. Each version has its own video that goes over how to fill it out in depth. So aside from this live, which will look very similar to these videos, you've got a video specifically for the version that you buy that will show you tab by tab how to fill it out, how to get the most out of it. Becky says, Georgia in the house. Grammy Pammy, I tagged you last night for some newbies. All right, thank you, Grammy Pammy. Appreciate that. As well as this video right here. Download my 2024 sheet. It's a almost 8-minute video that will break down the 3 versions and show you why you may want each one. I forgot to add. Well, I'll get to that in just a second. I'll get to that in a second. Let's see here. I do have a live demos here on my channel. Tax Talk with Caroline Olson, the tax professional. You can go back and watch that if you'd like. That was an hour long. We streamed last week. And she answers a lot of questions on different things that you can get credit for with your taxes. So I've learned a lot from Caroline just in the few months that I've known her. She's been a huge asset to the community. She's helped me understand things that I can get credit for to help bring that tax burden down. So if you don't know about it, if you don't know what you can get credit for and you don't use it, then you're not going to get it. So make sure you watch that to see the types of things that you can get credit for in your taxes. Business expenses, the home office expense, etc. Okay, so that's kind of the intro to all this. Now let's talk about why would you want one of these versions, or which version would be the best for you. So we've got the basic here, and they're going to look similar at the beginning, and then I'll kind of show you the differences. So the basic is a very simple view of, you can see the tabs down here below. So you get a handful of tabs. You've got basically a simple view for you to keep track of your inventory and your sales, and it will show you a few metrics like profit, your average sales price, things like that. Here's a look at some of the metrics you'll get with the basic. Keep in mind, the premium and the creator are pretty much identical to the basic. They just have more. So this is a simple view, a simple view of organizing your numbers with not really a whole lot of bells and whistles, but it does its job. So you want to track inventory, sales, and get a few metrics. That's the basic. If you want to step up to the premium, which most resellers are using the premium, and it's the one I suggest, it's going to give you everything that the basic has, the ability to track your inventory and your sales, as well as you get these fun metrics here. But you get so much more. You can track your platforms and see how they're doing against one another. You can see which stores that you're buying from are the most profitable stores for you, which categories are the most profitable, which categories flip the fastest, take less time to flip. You've got a way to track how many items you have in your specific bins. And then you've got a way to track these 3 tabs here, expenses for the business. I've really tried to make this so that at the end of the year, when you go to give your number to your tax professional or give your numbers, it's all right here. You don't have to spend a lot of time. The huge advantage of having a spreadsheet. And then lastly, the consignment template, which is a new feature. Consignment template and the P&L tab are new features on this 2024. Let's see here. The creator, that would be the third option. Creator here, again, it's going to look very similar to the premium. It's going to have 98% that the premium has, and then it's going to have more tabs. The creator is more for those people who are not just resellers, hence the word creator, but they're also creators. So they resell, but they also get paid to make videos. So maybe you're getting paid Amazon affiliate links. You make videos for YouTube and you get paid a little bit of money there, or a lot of money, doesn't matter. You maybe you're getting sponsored by companies to rep their stuff and videos, content. There's a way to track all of that on this sheet. Maybe you have your own merch line. So you sell t-shirts, hats, what have you, stickers. You want to keep track of your merch sales. You can do that too. And then the last tab that the creator has that the premium doesn't would be the whatnot tab. So if you're wanting to keep track of your whatnot sales separate from your reselling sales, you'll need to get the creator. It has its own tab here that allows you to come in here and quickly, and you can see I've entered in some like dummy numbers here, but you can quickly enter in your shows or items that you're selling and whatnot and see the stats for those separate from reselling. So 4 ways to track income on the creator spreadsheet. Okay, so that's kind of the amount of time I'll spend going over the differences. I will say, if you're still trying to decide and you're on Etsy, you can go into any of these listings here for 2024, and each listing has, towards the end of the picks, this graphic right here, which will show you what each sheet comes with so that can help you make the choice for yourself. And then we'll go to this next one. Each one also has this that links to the preview video if you're wanting the visual there too. So many ways to help you make the decision for which sheet is best for you. Okay. Make sure there's no questions coming in. Great ad. The creator, Grammy Pammy, says, growing with the community. Yeah. So let's be honest, there are a lot of people now that just are, maybe they started off as resellers and they're not just resellers anymore. So I wanted to have a tool to help fit the niche of people that are finding different ways to make money. Okay, so those are the 3 sheets. I'm going to spend the majority of my time on the premium reseller spreadsheet. So I gave you kind of the 30,000 foot view of each of those sheets. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything before I go right into it. Okay, so looks like I'm good. Let's just jump into it. This is going to be the first page on each of these sheets. It's the Start tab. It's a new tab for this year. I'll let you read this blurb. I'm not going to go over it, but just know that each of these are linked to social media accounts that I have. So you can click on here. It'll take you to my YouTube channel and etc. on the rest of these for getting in contact with me however you're linked out there. So if you have Instagram, you can follow me there. YouTube, obviously, you can get any of these social media accounts and find what I'm posting as far as product announcements, how-to videos. I'm going live on TikTok quite a bit. I'm obviously live on YouTube right now, so that will help you stay connected there. All right, so let me just quickly go through this premium tab by tab, and then I'm going to show you how I fill it out. So we'll look at this in just a second. But you've got your inventory tab. For those that had last year's spreadsheet, last year's was called active. It's now called inventory. It seems to make more sense to me. Some people list their stuff here and it's not necessarily active, but it's in their inventory, meaning it's their death pile. They haven't listed it yet. So this is all of your inventory, and you'll see some like bogus numbers that I put in just to show you how it works. This is all of your inventory right here on this sheet. So everything that you have that hasn't sold yet. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that. Let's get out of there. Sales. And it says Etsy link isn't working. Okay, I'll make sure when I post this video that it's correct. And we'll get it rolling. But if you just go to Etsy and search Ozark Mountain Goods, OZKMTNGOODS, all one word, or just type in 2024 premium reseller spreadsheet, you'll find the options there. Okay, so you've got your inventory tab. You've got your sales tab. So once you make a sale, you're going to copy from the inventory tab and bring it over here to the sales tab. So you can quickly copy and paste that in. You fill in the numbers, a few more details, and you're good to go. So that's kind of the entry side. But once you enter all that information in on your sales, you'll notice that it starts to pull into these different tabs. So you've got your 2024 daily sales. Here we'll show you how much money you've made on a given day. And then it's got a summation at the bottom for your monthly totals. Then you can click your month tab. So you went day tab, you're zooming out a little bit further to your month tab, which will show you obviously not your day, but your month to month comparison. So a bunch of different metrics here, and you've got graphs as well to show you different stats for your business. Again, well, I guess I didn't say this before, but this sheet really is for you. So there may be things on this that you look at. There may be things that you don't. You really just focus on what makes sense to you and helps you grow as a business. And then if we zoom out even further, so day, month, and then year, this is going to be all your stats for the year. So I don't spend a lot of time looking at this because it's taking the whole year in view. But at the end of the year, you can kind of take a quick snapshot and see how you did that year based on this. All right, new for 2024 is the profit and loss tab. We'll scroll all the way up. This is going to be your revenue and your expenses all here on one tab. So if you think as a reseller, you've got, you sell an item, that's revenue. You have expenses, shipping, the cost that you paid to get that item, and then obviously your selling fees. So depending on what platform you're on. But if you zoom out and look at your whole business, whether you're part-time or full-time, if you look at the whole business, really, you have other expenses that you need to track so that when you get to the end of the year, you can reduce your tax liability. Things like supplies, boxes, tape, any supplies that you use for your business. You've got office expenses, you've got accounting fees. You can write off this spreadsheet if you purchase it. So you've got a lot of things that you want to track. So the great thing about this sheet is it's going to pull in all of your data that you put into the sheet, and it's going to log all of your income up here. So you'll have your total income month by month, and then at the end, you'll have your total for the year, and then you'll have your total expenses. And these are blank here because I haven't filled in the rest of the expense tab, but those will auto-populate. You can see I've put in a few expenses here, and it's automatically pulled those in down here. So you've got your total income right up here, and then your total expenses. And then, of course, if you take income and subtract expenses, you get your net profit for the year. And you can look month by month, or you can scroll over and see how much have I made for this whole year net profit. So that's new to this sheet. Really excited about this. You've got your platforms tab. Sorry, we'll scroll up there. This is where you're going to compare platform to platform. How is each one doing? Now, when you get this, it's going to be blank. You don't have to, obviously it's customizable. If you don't know that, you don't have to use eBay or Poshmark. If you're only selling on, or if you're selling on a site that's not on here, you can add that in, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But this is going to take your platforms and tell you month by month with a summation of the year at the end. How are you doing? And then you'll see down here on the year, you can see kind of how each platform is compared to the rest. Okay, next up. So these are all the ways that you can measure your business with a premium spreadsheet. And again, the creator has all of these and a few more. This stores tab is going to be the stores that you're sourcing from. So, you go to Goodwill, you go to yard sales, you go to thrift stores, flea markets, wherever you're going, consignment shops. If you source online, arbitrage, retail arbitrage, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, whatever, you can track that in here to see how is each source or store doing. I'll show you that in just a second. Categories operates just like the stores tab. You can see exactly what categories you're selling in and how they're doing compared to the rest. You've got a bunch of different metrics that you can sort here to see which ones are doing better than the others. Moving on, I mentioned that you have the ability to track inventory. This will tell you at a glance how many items you have in each bin. So I'll explain that in a second, but basically you will set up your bin system and it will show you exactly how many items you have in that bin according to your inventory tab. All right, then looking at expenses, this is where you'll log each business expense when it occurs, and then it will keep track here over to the right of your monthly expenses. You can see how much you're spending per month. You can see how much you're spending per category. It's got a lot. So the fun thing about that is this whole chart, the expense, as I referred to earlier, is going to pull into your profit and loss as well. So those will automatically pull in right there. All right, that's the expense tab. You've got a home office tab. This is new for 2024. You may not know it, but there are home office credits and a few other credits that you can use to your advantage if you're spending any time in your business in your house. So whether you're storing inventory, you've got an office you work out of, you can get credit for that on your taxes. And I'll show you how to use this in a second. Pretty simple. You've got a mileage tracker. A lot of people are using like Mileage IQ and things like that. If you use an app, that's fine. This is just here. If you need it, you can use it. Pretty simple way to log the miles you're driving. You've got a consignment template. This is new for 2024, where you can track every consignment sale that you make. So you've got an agreement with a family member or a friend or someone that you know to sell their items for a certain cut. I'll show you exactly how this works here. And then lastly, this isn't the last tab. I guess well, let me just start with this FAQ page. This is new for 2024 as well. Questions that you may have that come up could be answered here. These are the commonly occurring questions that I've gotten over the last year and a half. And so you'll find answers to those questions. Cool thing is you even got videos linked to these. So you can just double click the link. It'll take you to a video I did that will help kind of troubleshoot it for you. And then of course, if you can't find your answer or it's not getting resolved for some reason, you can always reach out to me down here below. I show you exactly how to reach out to me, share your sheet so that I can jump in and quickly fix what issues you may be having. One sec. And then let's go to this last tab. This disclaimer here basically says I'm not a tax expert. I'm not going to give tax advice, and you shouldn't hold me liable because I'm not a tax expert. But if you're looking for a tax expert, I recommend Caroline Olson, and I've given you her contact information right here. She would love to do a free consultation for you. She works with part-time resellers, full-time resellers. There's no qualification there. If you're self-employed in any way, part-time or full-time, you could have a full-time job that you sell a few things from your house. She will still be able to help you with your taxes. Like I said, you don't have to be full-time. I've kind of hammered that home, but you can reach out to her. She'll give you a free consultation on how she can save you money on your taxes. And you can see for yourself if she's someone you want to work with, but I've recommended her here on the disclaimer tab because I'm not a tax expert. Okay, so now that I've kind of given you the quick view of the premium at a glance, kind of top perspective, let's go back to the start page. So here we are on the start page. And again, I'm going to move kind of fast, but please stop me with questions that you may have. So if something comes up while I'm describing, I really want to make sure I answer any questions that you may have, those especially watching live. And then again, if you're watching the replay, shoot me a comment below and I'll respond as well. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I set up the sheet, or how you would set up the sheet when you get it, so that you can start rolling on January 1st with your spreadsheet. And again, linked to Etsy. If you're watching me on TikTok and you want to see the sheet, make sure to go to my YouTube channel, follow me there, and click into this live so that you can actually see the sheet. Okay, so we're at the bottom here, and these are the 4 fields that you've got based on this sheet. So platforms, expenses, stores, and categories. So we already went over those tabs, and I'm going to show you that in a second, how these flow. But you're going to take the platforms that you sell on and fill them in here. And I've already populated some for time's sake, just so you're not watching me type them all in. But if you're only on 2 platforms, put those 2 in here. You've got up to 8 to choose from. Last year's you had 7. I added 1 more in. So on the premium, if you're wanting to track Whatnot, you can put Whatnot in here too. Just know that those numbers will be mixed together, and it may be kind of hard to decipher versus the creator, where Whatnot is a completely separate tab. So eBay, Poshmark, Facebook, Mercari, those are the 4 that I sell on. You're on Depop, you can put that in here. Grailed, Shopify, Etsy, whatever 8 platforms that you sell on. If you're on Amazon, you can do that too. You put them in here, and you'll just type them in to these boxes. So let's just say that I want to get Amazon in there as well. I'm going to type it in. There it is. Expenses. Moving on, you've got 15 expense categories that you can put in here. I've put in a couple. Supplies is a common one for resellers. Cost of goods, the cost to acquire the items that you're going to flip. I could put in here legal fees, meaning the cost that it cost the business to do my numbers. So my tax professional is going to charge me a set amount quarterly. I'm going to put those in here. Let's see, I may have office expense, and I'll just leave it at that. We'll leave those 4 in there. But you've got up to 15 expenses that you can track. And as kind of a suggestion, keep these broad. So instead of saying like tape or boxes, keep them broad, vague categories like supplies. When you go to the expense tab, that's where you'll put in what you purchased that was a supply. So that's where you'd list that it was tape. But here, just keep this as very broad categories. So I'll leave those 4 in there. You can also Google common self-employed expenses if you're looking for suggestions and ideas. You can reach out to Carol Ann. She would be a great resource to help you with this as well. Okay, I mentioned stores. You've got up to 50 stores to track. Just know that you can't add any to this sheet. So you've got 50. If you've got 60 stores you want to track, pick the 50 that you want and leave the other 10 behind. So you can't add any to this sheet, but you've got up to 50. So I've got a handful of stores in here that I want to track, and I've got a handful of categories as well. For those that may not be familiar with me, I'm a clothing seller. So a lot of my categories are going to be clothing, but I do sell a hodgepodge of other stuff, electronics, hats, movies, things like that. So yeah, you'll see those in there as well. I had a thought and it just left me. If it comes back to me, I was going to say, if you don't want to track stores, you don't have to. You can leave this blank. This is just here if you want it. So I'm giving you the tools for you to decide, what do I want to track for my business? If you don't want to track categories, you don't have to fill this in. So you decide at any point. Let's say you're starting off with, we'll go back to the platforms. Let's say I'm starting off with these 5 platforms for 2024, but in May, I decide that I'm going to add Etsy. I can come back in May and add that in here later and then start tracking Etsy. So it doesn't have to be like a once and for all. You can come back at any point and add. Okay, so now that we've filled this out, this data is going to flow into the sheet, and I'll show you where that goes. So I'll go in order just to keep things simple, but I'll show you here in a sec how that flows. So you've got your 2024 inventory tab. Again, this is your inventory, whether it's listed or not. You kind of do what you want with this. You can kind of see here, you've got a few different columns to fill in: listed date, item title, so what that item is, units sold, or units that you're selling. So I guess most of you are probably going to be just selling 1 unit at a time, but you may have some bundles in there that you're going to track. You've got the bin, or the location where you're going to store this item. So I've kind of put in a hodgepodge of numbers here that I use. I have my own system, so I go A through H, and I go A1 to A8, B1 to B8, all the way up to H. Let's see, you've got the stores. So when I type those stores in on the start page, they will populate as options for this drop down. So you'll see here, I can now choose these stores here because I've filled them in on the start page. So if you go and add more stores on the start page, then you'll have more of them added into the drop down here. Same thing with category. So you can choose the store and the category that you want to track here. And again, if you don't want to track it, just leave it empty and blank. These 2 columns here that are green, you'll just leave alone, and I'll explain why in just a second, but don't delete them. If you want, you can hide them, and it won't affect the sheet. Just don't delete. And then lastly, lastly that I've entered, you've got cost here, how much you paid for that item. If you scroll over, you've got a notes section for you to use if you have any notes that you want to keep track of. I use this XP, meaning cross post. I use Vendu to cross post my items. I've actually got those linked somewhere down below in this video too. So if you're wanting to check out a cross-posting software, check out Vendoo. It's very simple. Been using it for 2.5 years. But basically, I'll just come here and put an X or a 1 next to this item if I've cross-posted it, so I know that that one's been taken care of. And then you've got these 3 stats here, your total active inventory. So the total units you have listed here in your inventory, listed or, I guess, inserted into the sheet. You may not have them listed yet. You got the total cost. So the total that you paid to acquire all of the inventory that you have right here that hasn't sold. And then you've got your average cost of inventory. This is just a fun number that I like looking at. How much am I spending on average to get these items? Obviously, I want to see that number as small as possible. Okay, so let's scroll back over. People have asked me in the past, when I get home from the thrift store, I go in and put the items right into this sheet right away so that I don't forget. Can I do that? I haven't listed it. What should I do? So I'm going to take out this listed date. Let's just say I got home from the thrift store and I bought these 2 items. I went out at lunch today, picked up a couple items. I came back. Totally fine to do, by the way. You can put them in here. So just describe in the title the item that that you bought. You can use abbreviations. It's your sheet. Do what you want, and then put in the unit. You need to put something in here, so don't leave it blank, or it's going to affect the sheet. So just put a number larger than 0. Most of the time, it's going to be 1. And I would say if you're not sure, just do 1, and it will be the most accurate. But if you're selling a bundle of 4, you can put 4 in here too. So you're going to basically fill this out as you would when you're tracking your inventory. And then when you go to list that item, you can then come back to this and put the listed date. So, let's say the date is February 3rd, and I listed it on eBay or whatever site. I can then put February 3rd in here as the day that I listed it. So that's one thing that you can do. You don't have to wait until you list these items to put this date in here or to put the items in. You can put the items in and then just go back when you list it and add the date. Common question that I get with the sheet is it says, you'll see these arrows up here, and the first line actually starts on row 54. Why am I starting on 54 and not like 3? I've got formulas built into these up here. So if for some reason you get to your sheet and you see this, the do not deletes, obviously don't delete. It'll mess with your sheet, but just come in here, highlight the rows, right click, and then click hide. And you'll just do this until you get to, we don't want to do that. You'll just do this until you get to where you were. So you'll hide all of the do not delete rows, and then you're back to where you were. So common error or mistake that people have reached out on. Okay. So you've got your inventory listed. I've given you like 1,000 or 10,000 lines. If you need to add more lines, you can simply come in here and just hit 10, and it will add 10 more rows for you, or however many you want to add. So just keep adding as you go if you run out. All right, next. Let's see. I think that's all I want to cover on inventory. Anyone have any questions on inventory before I move on? Grammy Pammy, when you get to your question, I saw it come in on the copy and paste. Yeah, it's a simple copy and paste. And I'm about to show you how I do that going to the sales tab. Okay, so you've got your inventory here. If you click onto the next tab, sales, I just thought of something. You can customize this sheet too. So I've given you a specific order, but let's say you're not using some of these tabs. You can click, hold down, and then drag across if you want to get that out of view because you're not using it. So for those of you that didn't know that, you can. So just put the tabs here at the front that are important to you. If you're not using some, put those at the end so they're out of view for you. Okay, going next to sales. I've logged a few sales here just to show you how to do this. Let's scroll all the way over. There we are. Okay, so you'll see a bunch of columns: year, month, days to sell, platform, sold date. And then you'll notice from here all the way to cost, it looks identical to the inventory tab. Okay, so that's where you're going to copy and paste right in there. And then you've got all your numbers here associated with the sale, the transaction. Megan, great question. I'm going to answer that in just a second. Thank you for adding that in. So you'll see here, these two columns at the top say auto. What that means is they're auto calculated. They populate. You don't have to do anything. And as a matter of fact, if you do type something in over these cells, it will trip the formula. So let it do its thing. If you fat finger something, you accidentally hit a digit, just come up here, hit the back button, and it will undo that. Okay, so let's go to inventory. Let's say I sold one of these items, and now I want to track the sale in my sheet. Let's grab the Air Jordan shoes. I mean, come on, that's the one we got to pick, right? Let's say I sold this. You're going to highlight. So for those, if any of this doesn't make sense, just shoot me a question in the chat. But you're going to click on listed date for the row that you sold, all the way over to cost. You're going to click, drag, let go, and then copy. You can also right click and choose copy as well. Command C, Control C, something like that will get you the shortcut. So I've copied that. You can see it's a dashed line now showing me that it's copied. I'm going to go over to sales, and I'm going to scroll down to the very last line. So you're going to go to the next line that's blank, and you're going to add the sale in. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this now that I've copied it to show you, but I'm going to click into listed date, not sold date, but listed date here. And I'm going to go paste. And it's going to paste it right in. And you'll notice that it brings over the cost of goods for that item. And the reason why you don't delete those two green columns on the inventory tab is because it's taking into account this here when you paste. Okay, now we just need to go in and, did I copy the wrong one? I did. I wanted the Jordan shoes, but somehow I got the Lord of the Rings. Okay, we're going to roll with it anyways. So now we're going to come in and fill the rest of this out. It's very important that you don't leave these blank or it may not function. These need each other. So for year, if you're in 2024, you're going to be using 2024. We're going to populate that in. Month, we're going to put in the month that it's sold in. I'm going to say that it's sold in March. This days to sell column is auto-populated as well. It doesn't say it up here. You don't need to type a number in. It will auto-generate the number for days to sell. And if you do put a number in, it will trip the formula. It's a quick fix. I'll show you how to do that, but that's how you do it. So we'll leave that one blank. We're going to choose the platform that it's sold on. Let's say it's sold on eBay, the OG. And then, and you'll notice all the platforms that I put in are right here. So if you add up to 8, all those 8 will show up right there. And then the sold date, let's say it's sold on 3/2 of 24. You can just type in 3/2 and hit enter and it'll populate the date. But because I'm in 23, it's going to put 23 if I do that. Okay, so we've logged this sale as far as the day, month, and year. Now we're going to scroll over to the far right, and we're going to just populate in here the sale price. So this Lord of the Rings DVD set, let's say it's sold for $23 plus $4.95 shipping. Okay, so I'm going to enter that in, and then I'm going to fill out the rest of this sale. So shipping cost, when you go to ship the item, you charge the buyer $4.95, but let's say shipping was actually only $4.53. We're going to put that in here. So the price that you paid is what you put here. And then you're going to go to the platform that you sold this on. And you're going to find the fees associated with this sale. And you're going to put it in here. So let's say it was $337. That's going to go under platform fees. Promoted fee, or for those sites that you pay to promote. Let's say it's sold promoted on eBay for $1.89 was my promotion fee. And then transaction fee is more for those sites. eBay won't have it, but for like Mercari, where you have it, you have a selling fee and then you have a transaction fee. Etsy, I'm trying to think, Grailed. These are all different places where you may have a selling fee, the price to sell it, and then a transaction fee. So If you don't have a fee, just leave it blank. And then you'll notice as we put in those numbers, these change. So this is going to be your total fees for this transaction. It's going to take into account the summation of all these columns. And then obviously it's going to take for total profit, or your profit loss column, it's going to take the total dollar amount that you brought in. So the sales price plus the shipping, add them together, subtract your fees, and then give you your profit for that item. So this gives you a real-time look at, was this a good buy? Was this a good sell? And it will help you make that decision in the future of, should I continue to pick up items like this? Now, I wouldn't go off one sale to make that decision. You get a sample of sales and see, am I making enough profit to warrant getting this item in the future? And maybe it could just be as simple as, maybe I spent too much to get it. Maybe I need to bring that buy cost down and only buy things that are cheaper. Before I want to make sure I'm getting these questions in. So a couple of questions coming in. Can you sort them in alphabetic order on your inventory tab so you can find the item fast when it sells, or will that mess up formulas? Okay, so Megan asked a great question. Let's go back to the inventory tab because I did want to show you that. You can sort these columns. So you would just highlight the column you want to sort. So let's say I want to sort alphabetically. I'm going to highlight by title. I'm going to highlight this, then I'm going to right click, or if you're using a Mac, you can hit this arrow, sort sheet A to Z or Z to A, depending on what you want to see, and it's going to sort it for you. So I've got A to Z. If I want to sort it by bin location, same thing, right click, sort sheet. Of course, you can choose what you want to sort by. I always leave mine in sequential order, but that's me. That's just how I do it. I know some people, so I like to see it like my oldest at the top going all the way down to my newest. That's how I do it. But some people do like to see alphabetical for quicker find of that item. But let me just say, like, if you've got 1,000 items and you don't want to try and find where that item is, you can come to the inventory tab and hit, I'm on a Mac, so it may be different for PCs, but I'm going to hit Command F. It's going to bring up this box here to the right over here. And I'm just going to type in what I'm looking for. So the exact words or word. And then I typed in North Face, and you'll see it automatically shows me all the items that fit that exact wording. So I've got 3 of 3, and I can quickly scroll through each of these. And for someone like myself who's got 1,500 items, it will quickly take me to the North Face item so I can search, or so I can find it. So sort or find, either works great. Okay, thank you for that question, by the way. Grammy Pammy says, so if I copy, meaning if I make a sale and I copy it just like we did this, where did it go? Where is it? Did I take it out already? The Lord of the Rings DVD set. Did I take it out? Oh, there it is, up here at the top. So if, interesting, it was in the middle. Okay, doesn't matter. So this is the item. It was in the middle, but this was the item that I recorded the transaction on. After I record the sale, I'm now going to highlight this row, right click, and then I'm going to click delete. Because keep in mind, this page is your inventory that hasn't sold. I don't want my sold items there, so I'm going to take it out. And then we're back on the sales page. So great question. Tricia says Control C for copy on your keyboard. Yeah, Control C, I think if you're on PC, Command C if you're on a Mac. Let's see. Grammy Pammy says I've been doing cut all year. You can cut too, but it will still leave a blank line. So I like to just get rid of that whole line completely. Let's see. Megan Powers asks, can you put a 0 there, or does it have to be blank? A 0, sorry, I missed it. Zero where? What was I talking about recently that you would have asked that? And the transaction fee, are you referring to transaction fee? You can. Um, I mean, it's going to be more work. If you're talking about like, can you put a 0 here if you don't have it? Sorry, let me get that off. You can, but that's also just more time. So that's up to you. I just leave it blank if I don't have a fee there and move on. So 0 works too, but if you want the more work, go for it. So Megan's question on the sorting of the inventory tab. This is very important. So hear me on this. You can sort your inventory tab and it won't mess with it, but you cannot sort your sales tab. And I found this out yesterday because I've got formulas built into one of these cells. And the moment you sort, it's going to get rid of some of the data. So on the sales tab, and it's not a hard fix. If for some reason you do it and you mess it up, it's not a big deal. Reach out to me. I'll help you fix it. But just know that if you try and sort the sales tab, it is going to throw things off. So if you're just listing sales as they occur, it's naturally going to be in order from January through December. Okay. Any other questions on the sales tab before I move on and show you the rest of this stuff? Yeah, Darren on TikTok says undo is your friend. And you'll see up here, for those that don't know, undo and redo. So you make a mistake and you're like, oh no, what did I do? Just click undo and you'll probably take care of the mistake. If you need to go forward, just click redo. Command Z is also a shortcut for back for Mac users. That would be, I believe, Control Z. I don't know if the Mac and the PC guys, if they have the same things. I don't know if they're universal like that. Megan says, I always mess that up and have had to have you fix it. Can you show us how to do it? Do what? Undo. So, yeah, let's do this. I kind of alluded to, this is a very common issue. It's very easy to fix. So don't feel bad if you have to reach out on anything because you messed something up. Like I said, it takes me, a couple minutes to jump into your sheet and fix it, but I'll show you how to do it in case you make this mistake. So we just logged this sale right here, the Lord of the Rings DVD set. Let's say I accidentally hit a number in the days to sell column. You'll notice that when I put a number here, everything just went blank above it because the formula is running all the way down the sheet. And when you put a number in a cell that's supposed to auto calculate, it doesn't like that. So for most of you, unless you bought like the first few versions of 2024, most of you are going to see a hidden column here. So we've got a hidden row. We've got row 11 and row 13. Well, where's 12? Row 12 is hiding out in here and it's blank. So if you open it up, you'll notice that's where I've got the formulas hidden. So you can't accidentally delete the formula. Again, you delete a formula, reach out to me, I'll fix it. But you'll see that the formula is getting tripped up by this ref. The formula is here and it goes all the way down and you type something in over the formula and it's like, uh-oh, I can't calculate now. So if you click on this, you'll see it says, you don't need to know this jargon, by the way, but it's telling you where the error is occurring. So result was not expanded because it could not overwrite the data in cell C24. So Megan, to answer your question, you can just quickly click back, undo, and it's going to undo as many times as you click it, all the steps you've done, and I'm back at square one. It's now corrected. So that's one thing you can do. But for this sake, let's say you're several steps down the road and you don't remember when you made that mistake, but you found it. And now we're here. Here's how you'll fix it. So C24 has the error. We're going to click on C24. And this sounds like it shouldn't be right, but I'm going to click delete. It's going to delete what I typed in. And now the formula can be reset. So that's how you would fix that common error. Same thing with fees and profit. It operates exactly the same way. If for some reason you have typed in a number over one of these, it's going to trip up the formulas and it's going to tell you where that is, S24, click S24, hit delete, and boom, we're back in business, and it repopulates all the formulas. So that's one quick way to fix that issue. If you do have to unhide this row, I would just suggest that you click the row. So click the 12, highlight it, and then hide row, so that way the formulas stay hidden and you can't accidentally delete them later on. How do you fix the formulas if you sort? I see. You're probably gonna have to reach out to me if you do that, because it would take a little time to explain here. So if for some reason you sort this, if you didn't just do it and you can't go back, reach out to me. Which brings a good point too, and I'm glad you asked this question, because and I'm a little behind on this, so I'm gonna speed up pretty quickly after this. But Google Sheets have this feature that allows you to revert to an old version of your sheet. So for some reason, I don't know why you would want to do this, but I mean, if you make a mistake and you want to go back, you could do that. You will lose any new data you've put in, but you can click this clock that's got the arrow scrolling back, click it, and it's going to open up all of your versions. And you can see here all my versions that I've had on this sheet. And I can go all the way back to its inception date if I wanted to. So if you're like, I've had it, I've made a mistake, I'm just going back to the beginning, you can do that. But you can click on any of these versions and you can see what changes were made. So all of the green is going to be things that I did on this day. And if I like what I see and I want to go back to that, I can. If I look at December 7th at 12:10, here were changes that I made. December 8th, none that I can see here. So it must mean that I had some changes on some other tabs. But basically, you can revert to any of these sheets versions, and you would just click restore this version, and it will take you back to that version. So I'm going to go back out of that. Okay. That's the sales tab. That's going to be probably where a lot of the questions come up, because that's where you're logging the data. So just don't sort the sales tab and you'll be fine. Okay, day tab. I already showed you this, but quickly shows you how much you've made on a specific day. It's man, I got to get that out of there. It's pulling from a sold date. So when you put a sold date in here, that throws it into that column or that cell. I'll show you one other thing that I just thought of for this sales tab, so you don't have to type these in all the time. What I do is when I get to a new month, let's say I'm in March, I put in here 2024. So you need to do this twice so that it recognizes what you're doing. So you'll put in two 2024s and you'll put in two Marches, and then you can highlight those cells and then drag these down. That way you don't have to type in 2024 and March every time you make a sale. So just come in here, and I'll usually do like a handful of these, 50 to 100. I'll just come in here, put in 2024 March. That way, again, when I make a sale, I quickly paste it in here. I fill in the platform, the sold date, the numbers, and I'm good to go. So you don't have to type in. You have to have these fields completed, but you don't have to type them in every time. And then if you get to, let's say you've got some extra and you get to April, you can quickly just change these to April and then bring April down. So that's a quick way to quickly copy those two columns all the way down. All right, moving on. Day, again, pretty simple. Shows you how much money you made total on each day. Month. So I'll quickly kind of go over these. Let's see here. I know I got a bunch of questions coming in on TikTok. I'm mainly following, I appreciate that, by the way, but I'm mainly going off YouTube here. So if you want to follow and type in questions on YouTube, you can. For simplicity's sake, that's what I'm looking at. So month tab here, month to month, you've got pretty much, these are going to be your sales columns. So total sales, sales per day, units sold per day, and average sales price. This is for you to track So you can see month to month, how are you doing? Yeah, you can pull those numbers on eBay, and of course, eBay's got charts for you to see like your sales per month and per 7 days and per year and things like that. But if you're selling on multiple platforms, you'd have to go to each platform to see that, and this spreadsheet will bring them all into one right here. These next columns are going to be profit based, so your total profit, your profit per unit. Margin is going to be the percent of the sale that is profit. So you sold an item for $50. You take all your fees out. You've got $25 left. You just made 50% margin. Return on investment basically measures how much how much an investment. So if I go to the store and spend $1 based on my numbers in January, I'm bringing in 395% ROI. That means for every dollar I spend, I return $3.95. So it's just kind of a fun little metric to know, like, okay, I spent $300. So if I'm going off my yearly average of 575, and if I went to Goodwill and spent $300, which I don't know if I've ever spent $300 at Goodwill, um, then I could roughly say, based on my numbers here, I spent $300. That means I'm going to return 5.75 times the 300, if that makes sense. Keep it simple. I spent $100 at Goodwill. I'm going to return $575 to my business on top of what I spent. So that's just a fun metric. That's quickly what I would do when I was going to thrift stores back in the day. I'd be like, well, I'm making 300% of my money. So if I spend $1,000, I should bring in $3,000. Okay, moving on. If you want Google ROI, and that will help explain more if that's confusing to you. Total refunds. Oh, I didn't show you that. So you log refunds here just like you do sales. You don't need as much data, but basically the year, the month that the refund occurred, the item that you refunded, and then you scroll all the way over and put the refund in this last column. So if you gave back $20, however much you gave back, that's what you put in here as a negative number. And then when you go to the month tab, it will populate all of your refunds for the month. So, and then followed by down here at the bottom, your total for the year. Total shipping cost, average shipping cost, that's there if you want it. That will just show you how much you're spending on average on your labels. Cost of goods sold, obviously this is going to be the cost of the goods that you bought that sold. You do have items that you bought that haven't sold yet. This number is just those that have sold. And then an average cost of goods for those that have sold. You've got average days to sell. So it's going to take and tell you how quickly you're flipping items. And obviously we want to flip fast. We want to get our money back fast. We don't want to wait a long time. So that's there to track to see how you're doing. Units listed, you're just going to quickly fill in the units as you list them. So if you list a batch of 10 items, you're going to come in here and just put 10 items. Okay. And you're going to add to it as you go each month. Sell-through rate, this will populate and show you what percentage of your items you're selling each month. Inventory at the start of the month, I basically come in here. If you want the sell-through to populate, you'll come in here and at the beginning, so on January 1st, I'll take my total inventory that I have listed and I'll put it in here. So let's say it's 1,500 items. We'll put that in and sell-through rate will start to populate. And then February 1st, I'll come in here. Let's say I've listed 200 item. I don't know why that's not doing that. Let's say I listed 200 items more than I sold for February or in January. So in February 1st, I've got 1,700 units. I'm going to continue to fill that out. Growth or decline will take the number that you're selling, the number that you're listing, and reconcile those. So if you're selling more than you're listing, that's going to be a negative number. If you're listing more than you're selling, positive. And then you've got some charts down here at the bottom that will kind of explain what's going on up here. Okay, moving on. Jay says I save it. I know this was an old comment, but I save it right from the beginning and add master to the name. I don't know what that's referring to. Maybe reverting to an older version. Okay, year, I kind of already went over this, so I won't explain this a lot, but those numbers are kind of on the month tab. as well, but this is the quick snapshot. Profit and loss. Okay. Um, all money that you log in the sales tab will come right here into your platform revenue line on the P&L. So for those that don't know, your profit and loss gives, excuse me, your profit and loss gives you the snapshot of your business month to month, taking all income and expenses into consideration. So when you log a sale, it's going to pull those numbers in here for that month. That's why making sure that you're logging all of this information is important, because it goes somewhere, it sends it somewhere. I don't just have this in here just so you're typing more information. It's going somewhere. So when you type in the month here, or when you select the month on your sales tab, that sends it into the month tab, sends it into the profit and loss and other places. So going back to the P&L, this is going to be the total money that you've brought in for your business month to month. And then refunds, any money you've given out is going to be right here on this line. And you'll see that I did have that one refund in January logged for $20, and it's subtracting it from my income. And then the only other thing you've got are on the top here are you've got 3 manual revenue lines. This is for you to manually enter in maybe stuff that you're not keeping track of sales wise. So maybe you make a small amount of affiliate income and you're not keeping track of that. You didn't get the creator sheet, but you want to track your affiliate income. So you've got your links posted on your videos and stuff, and people go and buy supplies and you get a small kickback. So I can come in here and type in whatever my income is that I want to track. So you've got 3. You can type over those columns. So only type over the columns that say manual, either revenue or expenses. Don't type over anything else in here, or that will trip it up. So I'm typing over manual, and then you'll come in month to month. Let's say in January, Amazon pays me for my affiliate links and they give me $23 in my bank account. I'm going to come in here and type $23. And you'll see when I do that, it adds to the total income. So you can add up to 3 manual revenue or streams of income, however you want to look at it. And then February, I'd come in here and let's say I had a really good month on Amazon. I made $35 instead of 23. You'll put that in month to month, and that will track all of your income. You're looking down at the expenses. This rows 14 to 33. You'll see platform fees here. This is going to pull in every seller expense that you log in the sales tab. So roughly, if I'm scrolling over P, Q, and R, every penny that you spend on selling fees, promoted fees, or transaction fees are going to pull into the P&L right here automatically for you. You don't have to do that. So it's all right there. Same thing with shipping labels. It's going to take from the column on the sales tab and add in your shipping labels. So if you want to know how much you spent on shipping labels at the end of the year, you can go over to the totals column here for that column, for that row, and you'll see how much you spent on shipping labels alone. That's information that your tax professional will want to know. Again, supplies, and I won't go through all of these, but every expense you log will be tracked here. So let's go back to the start tab and I'll show you how this works. Let's add another expense. Let's add software and apps. We all have software and apps. A lot of us do that we use. If you're using Vendu to cross post or Autoposture, things that you have monthly expenses for. Let's also say that maybe you rent out a storage unit. Put that in there. What's another expense you guys can think of? Let's just say, let's say your eBay store fee. So you've got a monthly eBay store fee that obviously it's not keeping track of in the sales tab because you're not recording the eBay store fee as a sale. So we're going to put that in. Anything you spend on the business will go here up to 15. So when I do that, you'll notice that now it's added in those 3 over here. So as you keep track of expenses on the expense tab, those will populate here over here on the P&L. And then same thing with the income. If you've got manual expenses that you're not keeping track of on the expense tab that you want to put in here, you can. I'm guessing most of you won't use these three, but that's for you to manually enter in. Okay. Hello, Flippin' Nurse. Thanks for saying hi and stopping by. That's the P&L. So I explained that earlier, but income minus expenses gives you net profit. And this will show you month to month how your business is doing, taking everything into consideration, not just, it's great to sell a shirt for 50 when you had $25 of expenses, but you didn't really make 25. You did, but then you had supplies that went into that you have to subtract out. So this is the macro view of your business, and all these summations throughout the year. So you can quickly see, like, how much you're spending on supplies for the year, month to month, etc. Okay, platforms, went over this. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but whatever you put into your platforms here on the Start tab will then flow into these boxes. So I would say list the platforms in order of importance. So eBay for me is my biggest platform. I'm going to put that first on the Start tab. And then I'm going to go down in importance. I can always switch it up. Let's say that Amazon ends up becoming my biggest platform. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting off of eBay. I don't want to see that one really as much anymore. You'll notice that it automatically switched to Amazon, and eBay's now here over number 5. But you've got 8 platforms that will all start to populate. So you can switch them up at any point. You can take them off. Just know if I delete out one, all those numbers associated with that will now be deleted from the sheet. Well, the numbers won't be, the numbers will still be in the sales tab, but they won't show up here on the platform tab. Not to alarm you. Okay. Let's see here. I know I'm over. I'm just going to continue on because I think this is important, and you guys are hanging out. I want to hang out with you and just continue this until we get through it. Stores. So stores and category. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions on the platform tab? Any questions whatsoever? I don't see any. I'll just move on. Okay. Stores and categories will operate the same, so I won't spend a lot of time on both of them. Just know that they're going to operate very identical, exactly the same. It's just one is your stores and one are your categories. So I mentioned that these flow into different tabs. As you list your stores here, those will flow into your stores tab, and up to 50 all the way down. You can sort this tab. Again, you can sort most of these tabs with the exception of the sales tab. But as you log sales, if you've got these, let's get back over here. If you've got these 2 columns filled out, then that will send that data over to the store and category tabs. Really quick, just thought of this. You'll notice these little red triggers here. That's normal. Everyone's going to have them. There's nothing going on there. It's just that you pasted a drop down into a cell that is not a drop down, and the sheet is saying what's going on, but it's not affecting the data. Just disregard all of these little red tickers. They're going to show up, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's not impacting your sheet at all. Okay. So this will tell me kind of an idea of what stores are doing well. So every row that has numbers, I've made a sale in from that store. So if I look at this top one, Compassion Center, that's actually a store I have here locally. According to this sheet, I've made 4 sales for a total of $172.30. It's going to give me my average sales price for that store. It's going to give me my total profit, average profit per unit. So I'm averaging $26 in profit for each item that I sourced there. That's pretty remarkable. I may want to go back to that store. My average days to sell is 242. So it's taken me longer. I'm at 6-7 months to sell an item. So I may want to work on maybe dropping my price or something. Or maybe I'm just not getting as great as stuff there. Who knows? Average cost per unit. This is the average that you're spending at the store. So for cheaper stores, this number is obviously going to be less. And for stores that are more expensive, this number is going to be higher. So this will give me an idea of how much on average am I spending per item. And then this column I didn't talk about, but units listed. This is pulling from the inventory tab, and it's telling me that I currently have 5 units right now on the inventory tab that have not sold. So total of 9 units in this sheet, 4 have sold, 5 have not. That will give you an idea. So maybe you want to sort this sheet or this tab, sorry, to see which store, because once this starts to populate, and especially if you're like me, you may have all 50 filled out. You may want to know what store is bringing in the most profit per item. So we're going to look at average profit per unit. I'm going to click that column, right click or click the arrow, and then I can sort sheet A to Z. And that's going to tell me that, of course, it's going to throw out the ones that I haven't sold anything yet. Goodwill and Bella Vista is bringing in $71 profit per item. Now, I only sold 1 unit there, so maybe it was an integer, it was an outlier, but this will sort to show you the data that you want. So if you want to find those stores that are bringing in the most profit, sort by profit per unit. If you want to find those stores that are taking the least amount of time to flip that item, maybe giving you faster turnover. According to the sheet, I just sorted by average days to sell. And this tells me that Potter's House Fayetteville has the quickest turnaround based with all the stores that I'm tracking. Okay. One fun thing that I will say, so on, maybe not necessarily fun, but just a little tip for you. You see that I have all of these sorted. I just sorted last by days to sell. So this is not alphabetized. So when I go over to the inventory tab and I look at my store drop down, it's going to sort these based on the order that I have here. For faster finding, I can quickly sort this column alphabetized. And then when I go back to inventory, these will all be alphabetized here so that I can quickly scroll down and find the one that I need. And I'm not like looking through all 50 to find that one. So just to make sure that after you sort to get your information, just go, if you want it alphabetized, just go back and sort the stores column A to Z. Okay, makes sense. So what I'll do is, let's say I quickly want this number, which store has brought in the least amount of profit. The discount bins has only brought in $18 profit. Maybe I want to get rid of that store, stop sourcing there. Okay, I found out the information that I need. Now I'm going to go back and sort this to get that back to alphabetize, or you can just hit the back button here. Okay. Categories operates the same way. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Sort how you want. It's going to pull in all those categories that you've put on the start tab over here. I don't know why that keeps popping up. To tell you which categories are doing the best, the worst, which, so for example, really quickly, which category has the quickest turnover? According to this sheet, I've had 1 sale in men's jeans and it took 10 days to sell. If I look down, men's shoes took 50 days to sell. That'll be the next category. So that's how you kind of read this chart. And again, it flows just like the stores. If you want your categories to be alphabetized, you'll sort A to Z. And then when you go to your inventory, your categories will now be alphabetized. All right. Next, bins. This won't take a long time, but this is where you're going to put in whatever bin system that you have. Everyone's got their own labeling system where they store their items. So I mentioned I've got A1 to A8. That's just how it fits on the racks for me. And then the next row up is B1 to B8. So if I come in here and just continue to fill in all of my bins, you'll notice that when I did that, it started to tell me, hey, you've got one item in your inventory listed. It's being held in B3. Sorry, not listed, but it's being stored in B3. I've got 2 items that are stored in A3. So you can kind of get a track of how many items are in each bin. Why is that important? I'll explain that in just a second. And then at the bottom, you've got your total inventory. So this number 10 should match this number right over here. And the reason why mine doesn't is because I've got other bins like C3 that I haven't logged on the bins tab just yet. So those 2 numbers will match. So I've got 40 to 50 bins in my garage. And when I'm filling a new bin, I need to find which bin has the least amount of items, because I don't want to go grab a bin that's almost full. I won't be able to get much in. I want to find one that just has like a handful of items so I can put the most amount in it. I'll come to this sheet and I'll look for which bin has the smallest number. That means it's got the least amount in it, and I can go grab that one really quickly rather than pulling each bin out one by one and looking and going, this one's full, this one's full. Oh, here's one. So that's how I use this. The second way I use this bins tab is every time I pull a bin to fill it, I do kind of maintenance and quality control. So let's say I'm going to be listing some items. I'm going to put them in A1. That's a bad example. Let's go with A2. It's got 2 items in there. I will then go to my spreadsheet, and then I'll go to eBay or wherever I'm listing my items, and I'll check to make sure those items are both listed on eBay and on my sheet. If I've got 2 items, if this bins tab is showing me that I've got 2 items in A2, but I go to eBay and check, and it says I've only got 1 item on eBay, that means one of the items in the bin is not listed on eBay anymore, and I need to relist it. So it can't sell because it's not listed. So that's just one way I do quality control. Every time I grab a new bin or a bin I'm going to stock, I double check to make sure all those items are listed on the platform I'm selling on and listed in the spreadsheet. It's a really quick way to do that. I won't go over that now unless you guys want to hear that, but if not, I'll just move on. Okay. If you do, just let me know and I'll come back to it. Expense tab. You heard me say that this pulls all of your expenses into the profit and loss. So I've got a handful of makeup expenses that I've had. Let's say that today is March. We're going to keep with the example, March 2nd. So I'm going to put March, the month, to the second for the day. You don't have to put the day in here if you don't want to, but it just makes it a lot simpler. If you ever get audited, you need to know not just what month you purchased or had this expense, but what day it was. You may be looking at receipts. And if you've got 1,000 receipts, you don't want to try and guess, was this the March one or was, so just make it simple, put the day in there. And then you're going to choose from the categories you've already put in for expenses, what that expense is. So let's say on March 2nd, I went to Goodwill and I purchased $100 worth of stuff to sell. I'm going to pick cost of goods. See, I've already got that here. Again, you want to add more expenses, go to the start tab and just fill in right here. We'll put in, what's another expense? Trying to think. Let's just say no, that's a bad example. Oh, well, I'll just roll with it. I can't think of one right now. I'm going blank. But going back to my example, I spent $100 at Goodwill. Notes section is where I'm going to just put the store or wherever I bought that item or wherever I had the expense, Goodwill. Or I could even get more specific and say Goodwill Rogers. Okay. This is for me to help me if I ever get audited to have a detailed view of, let's hope that never happens, but a detailed view of my expenses. So I spent $100 on March 2nd at Goodwill getting items to flip. When you scroll over here, you'll notice that $100 just populated on this. So this is where you'll log your expenses. Not to confuse you, Actually, I need to take a quick break and run to the bathroom, and I'll be right back so I don't have to keep doing the dance under the desk. Okay, thanks for bearing with me on that. Much better. So there's a question that probably comes up. You're like, well, why are you keeping track of what you spent here as an expense for items that you thrifted or got at a yard sale or flea market or whatever, when you're keeping track of that over here in the cost? So you'll notice on the inventory tab, this is the individual amount that you paid for each individual item. So you bought a shirt for $6, you put it in here. Please don't let this confuse you. If it does, I'll try and explain it. But um, the inventory tab with this column of cost, this is going to flow into the sales tab when you paste it here. So when you paste each transaction in, it's going to take into account how much you spent on that item. This number isn't going into the profit and loss tab. So it's not keeping track of your expenses there. This is just for you to know in your business, here's how much I spent on this item. Here are all my fees associated with the sale. Was this a good buy? Here's my profit. So it's purely an educational aspect tool. A lot of you are watching my shipping lives where I'm saying I made $18.27 on this item. That's where I'm getting this number. So I'm looking at this and then telling you how much I made so that you get an idea, and I have an idea of how much I'm making profit per item. So this cost of goods isn't going anywhere except here. And it's only to tell you, so you know how much you're making profit-wise per item. Because if you don't put this in here, like if I didn't have this 450 here, my profit it's going to seem like my profit is higher when in reality it's lower because I had to pay something to get it. So I want to make sure I have all the fees associated so that I know whether I'm making good buys. So what does this have to do with you? You can do this when you get home from the thrift store. You can do this on a monthly basis. You can do it at the end of the year. Although I don't recommend leaving all this for the end of the year. At the end of each month, I go back and look at my credit card statements and my bank statements associated with my business, and I put in all of my expenses. So I just go to the first of the month and I go all the way through the month and I log all my expenses here in the expense tab. This cost of goods here that we just entered went over here, but it also went into the profit and loss tab here. So this is where that number is going. So if it sounds confusing, just make sure that you're putting in the whole amount that you spent at each thrift store in the expense tab here, and you'll be good to go. That number you'll get credit for that in your profit and loss tab there. So what I recommend is doing both. Put it in the inventory tab as the individual cost, and then put it on the expense tab as the total cost for that store. Does that make sense? Do I have any questions on that? Again, I've got TikTok live. If you're streaming, I've got the sheet on YouTube right now. So jump over on YouTube if you want to see the sheet in action. Right now, you can just see me, but if you're wanting to catch the sheet and see the visual of it, that's where I am. That's where I'm hanging out. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. So log all of your expenses throughout the year as you incur them. That way, when you get to the end of the year, you're not spending hours pulling all of your receipts and logging them. That could take a while. Just do it as you go. Home office. We're getting to the end of this, by the way. So we've only got, 3 tabs left, and these won't take that long. Again, if you have any questions, it doesn't have to be on what I'm covering right now. Just put the question in and we'll get to it. Even if it's on inventory tab and we've already passed that, I would love to go back and help answer those questions that are coming in. Home office. Talk to your tax professional. If you don't have one, go check out Carol Ann. She's great. This was her suggestion. She was like, I would love to see a home office expense tab where resellers or self-employed people can keep track of the credits that they can get for having an office at home. So this is a pure suggestion from Caroline that I created this tab. 1, to help you track somewhere. 2, to help her so that when she gets your end of year numbers or whatever person you're using, it's all right here. And it's very easy for them to pull, and they're not asking you a lot of questions because they've got it in front of them. So you've got 10 bills, bill 1 to bill 10, all the way across. This is pretty much a manual tab. So I didn't want to tell you what to use, but common things that you can get credit for. Again, you don't have to be full-time. So take that out of your head. If you're thinking, well, I'm not a full-time reseller, that's okay. If you are using a portion of your house for your business, i.e. storing your inventory, like your garage or in a room or in a closet, or you're working out of a room, listing your items, taking pictures, you can get credit for a portion of all the expenses that you would incur with your house as a business expense, because your house is now partly a business. So how I use this bill 1, I would just type in some of the things that are going to occur month to month that are related with the house. Now, you will see a couple on here that aren't related with the house. It's more just the office portion of the expense. So first one I'll just say would be cell phone. I use my cell phone probably 75% of the time for business because, let's be real, I'm on it 8 to 10 hours a day, listing, answering questions, responding to offers, etc. on my phone. I'm not spending that much time personally talking, texting, and chatting and things like that. So I can write off a portion of my cell phone bill for the business. Caroline will help explain that to you. If you don't have to know how much you can write off, just put in here what your total bill is. I can also write off my electric bill on my home, a portion of it. I can also write off the gas that I'm paying to heat the home. I can also write off the, what am I not thinking of? Trash. And for me, trash and water is one bill. So I can write that off. I can also write off, I'm trying to think what else. Those of you watching that may have a suggestion, throw it in here and I can get it in. But there are certain things that you can write off. I'm trying to think. If you have a solar bill, maybe you have solar panels in your house, and that's how you heat your home. May not be a large solar bill, but whatever that is, you can write off a portion. So I've given you up to 10 different lines that you can track. And then for each month, you're going to come in and put the total bill amount for each of these categories. So for me, my cell phone bill is the same every month. So I can just come in here and put that amount. Let's just say it's $42. It's not, but let's just say it is $42. I can put that in for January. If I wanted to, I can just come in and put this in for each month because it's going to stay the same. Some of these are going to stay the same. Some of these aren't. Oh, I forgot one. A common one, internet. So for example, my internet bill is $55 a month. I can just come in here and log that. It's not going to change. I pay the same amount every month. But for some of these, you'll notice like electric, it's going to change based on your usage, electric, gas, trash, and water. So you'll come in here and put the bill. Let's say that for January, my electric bill was $67.17. I'm just going to put that in. Let's say February, it went up to $82, so on and so forth. Log all of your bills in here. And then your accountant will know what to do with these at the end of the year. They can give you a portion of all of these bills as a credit on your taxes. Makes sense? Again, talk to Carol Ann. There's, I'm sure, categories I'm not thinking of that she would be able to help you get credit for. This is where having someone in your corner is a huge benefit. All right, how we doing? 12:30. Everyone doing good? I know this is a long time, and if this isn't fun for you, we've probably bounced a long time ago, but that's okay. We got a handful of people watching on both platforms. I appreciate you all. Let's move on to the bottom portion of this. This would be, and this is what I did not know before I met Carol Ann. If you make renovations to your home, you can get a portion of that written off as a tax credit. For example, the room I'm working in is one of the 4 rooms we have in this house. So whatever percentage this room is of the house, I can write off a portion of the renovations for the house as a business expense because this is a home office. So let's say we'll stick with March because March has been the theme this sheet. In March, I had to replace my roof. I'm going to put it in here, and you've got 20 or 25 lines. You don't see the lines, but just go ahead and click it and type in. In March, I replaced my roof, and let's say my deductible for insurance was $3,000. That's how much I spent, and I paid ABC Roofing Incorporated to do the repair or the replace. I'd put that in here, and again, my tax professional will know how to give me credit for that. I won't get the full $3,000, but I would get the portion of the house that is my business. Again, not a tax professional. That's why you need to talk to someone who is a tax professional to know what to get. Let's say I painted my office. I'm like, you know what? My office is a hideous color, and I'm going to be taking pictures and going live from there. I don't want this color. I'm going to completely paint my office walls. You can write off 100% of that because you're painting your whole office. So in May, not Mary, in May, came in and painted office. Sorry, for someone with OCD tendencies, I can't leave that capitalized. And then let's say I spent $500 on paint supplies, and I would put in here, let's say I went to Home Depot and bought all my brushes and all the supplies associated with that. So that's how I would do this. Just know this is for you to log in. If you're not sure, just put it in here, and then your accountant, your professional will know what you can get credit for and what you can't. And if they have any follow-up questions, they can ask you. All right, mileage, really easy. Any miles you track for the business, keep track here. So put the date. You don't have to put beginning and ending odometer, but just know if you get audited, the IRS is going to ask you for this. So I do it because I don't want to have to go back and figure that out because I couldn't. There's no way I could do that. If they asked me 5 years ago, what was your odometer on your car and where all you drove, I wouldn't know that. So technically, you can just put in here the miles, and it will add into total miles over there on the right. But cover your bases if you want. Do your beginning and ending odometer, or use an app. You can do that too. But this will keep track of the total miles you've driven for the business, and then just put in here in the notes where you went. So you can see I've got kind of like shorthand for, Goodwill, Springdale. I actually cut this down even more just to make it really simple to type in so I know where I'm going. All right, that's very simple. This next tab I'm really excited about. I had several people reach out and they were like, how do I keep track of consignment? And if you're on the 2023 sheet, there's no way to do it unless you create your own tab. So I created a tab, and I have consignment relationships too, where I've got 3 to 4 other people that I sell for and I take a cut. I'm actually going to take this out and then show you how this works. So for each person that you have a consignor relationship, you sell things for them, and then you've agreed on a certain rate, you're going to create a separate tab for each of those people, each of those agreements or relationships. So, for example, my dad gives me stuff. I sell it. He's got it in his closet. He gives me half the profits. That's one person. My neighbor gives me stuff. I sell it for them. I take half the profits. And so I don't want to put my dad's consignment in with my neighbor's because that would get obviously confusing. So what you're going to do is create um, a new template for each person. So this, as you can see, is labeled 2024 consignment template blank. You want to leave this one blank. If you fill this one in, you won't have a blank one to copy. So leave this blank and then click on consignment template, duplicate. You'll notice that now I have another copy of the consignment template. Now I can come in here and rename it to that person. So Dad, you're in. Your consignment sheet is in, your tab is in this sheet. I'm going to move him over. Okay, so I would create one tab for each person that I work with. And if it, say June, I find another person to do consignment with, I would just create a new one for them. And I would always leave this consignment template blank. All right, so let's go to Dad. This, I think, will be blank when you get the sheet. Let's take that number out. Their rate is the rate that you've agreed to give them. So there are a couple of different ways that you can work with someone on consignment. And it's likely not going to be the same for every person. So maybe with my neighbor, we've agreed that I'm going to take 50% of the profit. But with my dad, I've told him I'm going to take 25% of the sales price. Sorry, I need to think about that the other way around. For my dad, I've told him I'm going to give him 75% of the sales price. So this is the rate you're giving them, not you, if that makes sense. So let's stick with my dad. He's going to take 75% of the sales price. I'm going to take 25%. That's my cut. So I'm going to put in his cut in this box. And his cut is 75%. And you'll see these two columns will differentiate between if you're doing percent of sales price, here you go. If you're doing a percent of the profit, here you go. So it's got both of those accounted for. All right. Now this is the fun part and super simple part to logging those transactions. So you're going to log all of your sales here on the sales tab. Doesn't matter whether it's consignment. It doesn't matter whether it's not consignment. You just log them all here. But when you have a consignment sale, you also need to throw that not only in the sales tab, you also need to throw that into the consignment tab. So let's pretend that, let's just take this first one. Let's say that this Rumicube Onyx game I sold brand new was actually something I sold the neighbor, or not the neighbor. Let's say my dad gave it to me. It was sitting in his closet. He was like, hey, sell it for me. I'll give you 25% of the sales price. Okay, I sold it in January. So what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way over to year, just like we did with inventory. Very same, except I'm going to copy the whole line going across. And by whole line, hang with me. I'm going to go from year. So click into year and drag all the way over through transaction fee. That's very important. So just go all the way to transaction fee. Don't get total fees or profit and loss in this. So I've got all the way through column R. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go back to Dad's consignment template. I'm going to find the first line here and I'm going to click into year, paste, and it's going to paste it in. Now, you're not going to see every column. I've hidden some columns up here because we don't care to know some of this stuff with consignment. Like I don't care to know days to sell. So that one's hidden. I don't really care to know platform. If I want to see that, it's on the sales tab. So a bunch of these are hidden. I really just want to know how much is my cut and how much is my dad's cut, because at the end of the month, I'm going to pay him a check, or I'm going to send him a Venmo or Cash App, or PayPal or something. So what I really want to know is, I've got this pasted in. How much do I owe him? When I pasted this in, based on the rate that I put in here, it gave me how much I owe him for that transaction. So if I'm doing a percent of sale price, I'm going to owe him $13.49 for his portion of the sales price. So it's going to take 75% of the sale price and put it there. That's how much I would pay him for that transaction. If I'm doing a percent of profit, and let's say I'm giving him 75% of the profit, it's going to tell me that I owe him $11.50 right there. You'll see down here at the bottom, this is the total paid for the year, just so you can get an idea of how much you've paid him. But month to month, this will automatically populate to show you, here's how much you owe. I've been using this for the last year. My neighbor, I send a Venmo with his amount at the end of each month. It's super easy. Copy, paste. At the end of the month, go check. So again, I just logged this one. I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to leave it there in the sales tab because that's a sale I made on my business. It doesn't matter that it was consignment. I still need to leave it there. But let's say I had another one. Let's say I sold another item for dad. Let's just say this Eddie Bauer red flannel. I'm going to copy from year all the way. I could just go to this last fee. I don't have to get this whole thing, but all the way up to transaction fee. I'm going to go back to dad, click in the next year, paste it in, and you'll notice now that for January, based on 75% of the profit, I now owe him $26.66. So that's how that works. It's very intuitive, very easy. This is basically, this is going to be your total fees for the transaction and your profit or loss for the transaction, just like you would see on the sales tab. These 4 columns, if you want to see it, you can. But again, you don't have to. You can just leave these alone if you need to. You shouldn't have to type anything in. It's just going to auto-populate. But this is going to be your payout on each transaction based on your agreement if it's the sales price. So percent of sales price, I made $4.50 on that transaction. On the second one, I made $4.39. It's going to take 25% of the sales price because that's my cut. Their payout on sales price, again, here it is, their numbers broken out. This is just in case they want like a printout of each transaction. You can give it to them. So you can print this sheet out if they want to see the itemized. If not, and they don't care, and they're just like, hey, just send me a Venmo. I don't care to know all the details, then that's fine too. And then again, if your agreement is based on profit, so if I'm giving dad 75% of the profit, that number is going to be different because profit is not the same as sales price. My sales price was $17.99, but my profit on this sale was $15.33. So my payout, 25% of profit, would be $3.83 on this. And my dad's payout would be on the profit, 75% of the profit would be $11.50. So you come up with the rate, whatever it is, you put it here for them. And then the spreadsheet will do the rest. Any questions on that? Any questions on the consignment tab? Also, whenever you create, so you'll notice I created this and renamed this dad, just so I don't get confused. I would also come back up here and just type dad. So when I go into the sheet, I'm not confused and I'm not accidentally putting my dad's transactions into my neighbor's transactions. Okay, that's the consignment tab. If there's no questions, I'll move on. I think that's pretty much it. I've shown you the sheet. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I haven't shown you. Of course, you can always reach out if you have any questions. Again, if you're looking for this sheet, it's on Etsy. I've got it linked in this video. I'll make sure that link is working. Someone said it may not be working. So if it's not, after this video, I'll go and just make sure that it is working. But these 3, that's the premium. Oh, I didn't show you the creator really quickly. So the basic, you'll notice, is just those first 4 or 5 tabs on the premium. start, inventory, sales, day, month, year, FAQs. You've got instructions, but you've also got videos that will do instructions as well. The creator tab is going to be, again, a lot of the same stuff, but so inventory is going to look the same. But now you have platform sales, because those are different than other ways you make money. So the 3 extra tabs. So this would be sales tab on the basic and premium. On the creator, it's called platform sales, because you have several ways of making money, and this is one of them, platforms. But you also have these next 3 tabs. So think of it this way, as in your inventory, and then you've got 4 tabs here that are all ways you make money. Whatnot, going to look very similar to the sales tab, except a few less columns, because with Whatnot, you don't really care as much about certain things. You just want to get in here. You want to track shows that you're having, items that you're selling, as well as money that you're making and the fees that you have. So you've got sales price, cost that you paid for the item, the Whatnot fee, the transaction fee. This is going to take the total of the fees, kind of like the sales tab, and then your profit or loss on Whatnot for each item. And then you've got giveaway shipping. So if you pay for giveaway shipping, you can enter that in here. If you've got tips that you make per show, you can enter those here. And referrals, you know, if someone clicks on your link, signs up for Whatnot, and you got 10 or 20 or $30 or whatever it is, you can put that in here. I believe it's 10 or 25 based on whether you're an affiliate, an ambassador, I guess. You can log Whatnot shows separately like this. So let's say on January 1st, I had a Whatnot show and I sold these 5 items. I can quickly just take these from inventory and paste them in. Same way, just click in the listed date and paste. Or if you're someone who does a lot of Whatnot shows and you're like, I don't want to log each sale individually, that would take forever. I just did a show of 50 units. I've got another show coming up in 3 days of another 50 units. I'm not logging 50 units individually. You can come in here and put it in on a show-by-show basis. So 2024, February 1st, I had a show. You can come in here, put in how many units you sold, your total dollars that you brought in, and then fill in the rest of these, your totals. So total giveaway shipping, tips, etc. And then that will all bleed into the month tab. You'll notice the month tab on the creator looks very different because now you have a lot more things to track. You've got Whatnot. Let's make this a little smaller so you can see kind of more of it. You've got Whatnot, online platforms, merch, and creator. So this will give you, and very similar to the month tab on the premium, this will give you all of your Whatnot stats. So you can kind of get a quick month-to-month basis on how Whatnot is growing. And then you've got charts down below that will auto-populate. Okay, so that's the Whatnot tab. Let's go to the merch tab. Merch tab is very similar to the expense tab. You're going to log it exactly the same as I showed you on the expense tab. So let's say you're a creator, you have your own stickers. You sell a sticker for $3. You can come in here and log each sticker sale one by one, or, you know, let's say you want to log a month by month. You could do that too, just to save on time. But you'll come in here, you'll put the month that you are tracking that sale. So again, we'll stick with March. On March 2nd of 24, let's say I don't have stickers in here. Actually, let's change that. Let's go back to the start tab. I forgot to show you this, but the start tab looks a little different because you've got now merch and creator in here sandwiched in between. So let's say that I sell stickers as merch. I'm going to put that in. Now, when I go back, I can now choose stickers. I sold 10 stickers. I sold them at $3 a piece, and I collected $1 a piece for shipping. So $10 shipping. And then once I ship out all those stickers, I'll put that total price here. So shipping costs, we'll just keep it easy. Say it was $9.89. If you're selling on, like, let's say you sell on Big Cartel or Shopify or anywhere where you'd sell those stickers, you're going to put in your platform fees, your transaction fees, and then notes if you want it. And then when you scroll over, you'll notice stickers populated over here, and it will log the total income I received for stickers, including shipping, plus the units that I sold. So I can start to get an idea of how's my merch revenue doing. which category of merch is doing the best according to this on the year. And watches, I just threw watches in there, but my watches category is selling 77% of all my merch income. So this will give you an idea of which merch revenue is performing the best based on the year. And that's just going to be based on the pure dollar amount. Obviously, if I'm selling 100 stickers and I'm selling 100 t-shirts, I'm going to have a lot more money in t-shirts because they're going to be more expensive than a sticker. Okay, so you'll log your merch revenue here. You've got up to, did I give you 10 or 15? I think I gave you 15 categories. Yeah. And then again, on the month tab, if I scroll over, here's my merch numbers. It's just going to give me total sales of merch month to month, sales per day, units sold, shipping cost, and my total fees. So those numbers are there. Now let's go to the creator tab. I love this tab because this is where I'm going to keep track of my creator money. I'm a reseller. I sell spreadsheets. I also make money through like affiliate links, through YouTube money, making YouTube videos. I make a little bit each month. And then I've got a handful of other things that bring in money for me that I get to track here on this creator revenue tab. So exactly like you did the merch, you're going to log when you record each transaction. So a lot of times companies pay out at the end of the month or the beginning of the month or the 15th, whatever. Debbie, thank you for your spreadsheet order. Appreciate that. Let's say on March 31st, YouTube paid me money for all the money that came in on my videos. And let's say it was $100. Woohoo, I made $100 on something that's out there making money. I want to record that in the sheet to keep track of it. You'll notice that in March for YouTube, that popped up right here. So I can see, if I scroll over to this column on the year, how each category is doing. I can also see that down here. So just like on merch, your kind of your layout, your spread of merch revenue, this is going to show you your creator revenue, which is bringing in the most amount of money, or the splits, I guess, on that. I also use this. I love seeing like month by month, just seeing how my business is growing. So, I mean, I hope it's growing. It may take a dip one month or something, but I want to see that this number is going up month by month and that the effort and investment that I'm spending creating videos or selling products or whatever is paying off. And so that's what I like to look at this. And again, go back to the month tab. If you scroll all the way over, you'll get one just quick chart on total revenue that you've brought in for all of your creator endeavors. So anything you're creating content for, this is how much money is associated with that. Again, if you're jumping in on TikTok, I'm on YouTube right now. That's where we're looking at the spreadsheet. I don't have much longer here, but you're welcome to come ask any questions if you have any. Okay. So those are your four platforms for recording money: platform sales, whatnot sales, or whatnot shows, merch, and creator. And again, just like it does, it's going to pull in your daily sales. However, this is going to pull in your daily sales for every single income that you're tracking. So this isn't just reseller sales now because you're on the creator sheet. This is now going to pull in all the money that I'm tracking. So if I look down, you'll notice I recorded that $100 that I brought in on YouTube for $331. There it is. So this is really good as a creator because you're no longer just concerned about reseller money. You want to know across your business, how much money are you bringing in total per day? And that will show you that there. Month I showed you. The year is going to look very different than the premium because really what I want to know is on the year, how are each of these 4 income streams doing? So a lot of pie charts on this. You know, if I'm looking at this and this is my year, of course, as you continue to log sales and income, it's going to continue to change. But if I'm looking at it today, I can see that Whatnot is bringing in 42% of my whole business revenue is Whatnot. So this can help show you maybe where you should focus your time. If I get to this and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I have a category that's less than 2%. Like, I'm spending a lot of time making videos as a creator, and this isn't bringing enough money in. I'm just going to stop spending as much time there. Or maybe I'm going to focus more time on whatnot. Or, read it how you want and interpret it how you want. Not saying that if you're not making enough money, you should just stop it, because obviously things take time to build, but this will help you. And then, of course, total revenue for the year. So here's all 4 categories broken out and your total in the middle. Now, P&L, this is going to be even more involved than the premium P&L, because we have more categories to track. So whatnot, your online platforms, your creator revenue, and your merch revenue. So when you log income into these 4 tabs, it's going to throw it into here on your P&L. And then you'll get total income for the month. You had 3 manual income fields here. Now you've got 5 that you can use. So if you're not, let's say maybe me, I'm selling spreadsheets and I don't have anywhere that I'm tracking that here. Maybe I can come in here and put Etsy spreadsheets, and then I can manually track those here. Let's say in January I made $250. I can keep track of that here and add that in as a manual entry. And then again, all of your expenses that you populate will populate here. So you've got your whatnot fees. When you add your whatnot fees in here, that's going to go over to the profit and loss tab here. And then the same with merch fees, online platform fees. You'll notice I didn't put creator fees here because you don't really have fees for creator. When YouTube pays you money, they just give you a check. You don't have fees to take out of that. So you won't have fees here for creator because it's just money that's coming in. Again, your 15 expenses, and then you've got 5 manual entries down here. All right, so that's how the P&L is a little different. Let's see. The rest of these look the same. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to show you. I can't think of it, but I think that pretty much sums up the sheet. Again, like I said, go to Etsy. If you're looking between the 3, watch one of these videos as well. But click in, look at any of these listings will have this picture right here, and this graph will show you basic, premium, creator, what you're going to get for each of these. What's up, Ed? Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for saying hello. All right. I don't see any other questions. I'll give it maybe another minute, and then I'm going to end the live here. If you just jumped in at the tail end, so we've been going live for, I said it was going to be an hour. It ended up being about 2 hours. So you can always go back and watch the replay later if you jumped in at the tail end and you're like, oh, shoot, I missed a bunch. So yeah, if you jumped in at the end, you want to see it, go back and watch it. It'll download or upload to my YouTube channel here shortly after. It may take some time, but it'll be there at some point after this live. A bunch of people favoriting the shop. Appreciate that. Debbie made a purchase on a spreadsheet, got the premium. She's ready for 2024. Thank you, Debbie, for your purchase. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, if that's it, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much. Of course, I'll be going live next week. I'm tentatively planning for Thursday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. So if you want to jump in, it'll look very similar. We're going to have a very similar demo. So it'll be repetitive if you've already seen it and you jump back in. But if you order the sheet and you're like, hey, I want to fill this out with you, you can do that too. So guys, appreciate you watching with me. And yeah, I hope that 2024 is your best year yet. And you're able to use this sheet to your benefit to track your numbers so you can monitor your business as you go. And then at the end of the year, it's a lot simpler for you. So I'll go ahead and shut down the TikTok live right now. and YouTube. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah, happy holidays if I don't see you before